What's up, Focus fans? Welcome to another edition of the Cool Down from the Reverse Hyper Desk. I'm your host, Smitty. I'm a level 3 coach, a content creator, and a digital storyteller covering the sport and lifestyle of CrossFit here in Arkansas and beyond. Now, the CrossFit Open and the Open Division quarterfinals have come and gone, and there's a lot to dive into. So much that I'll be kind of dissecting this episode into a couple different sections. Each section will be uploaded to YouTube, so if you're watching there, thank you. This will give you the best viewing options. So why would the viewing option even matter? Well, I have teamed up and I have interviewed some of the top athletes in the state, including your Open Division champions, Maddie Edward from CrossFit 540, Adam Dykes from Rock City Complete Fitness, and the fittest teen, Landon Ryan from CrossFit Reverence, as well as a Masters athlete, Joe Bowerman from my home box, Wellness Revolution CrossFit, as well as Brandon Crawford, who's an adaptive athlete that trains out of CrossFit Russellville. Each of these athletes is a state champion for their respective divisions, and I wanted to know what they thought about the Open this year and its format, and just kind of dive into their experience through the process. Now, before we get into those interviews, I'd like to kind of dive into and discuss the 2022 Open, as there were some major changes, which were some were big, some were small, but in a future episode, we'll dive into the statistics for Arkansas boxes and athletes specifically. Now, to kind of get into the nitty-gritty, for the second year in a row, we have a format that has multiple steps towards the CrossFit Games, with the first step being the CrossFit Open. What is massively important to note for this year is that for the first time in its inception, sorry, I just got braces, I can't talk real easy. We did not have a repeat workout. Now, as the morning chalk up highlighted, repeat workouts align a core principle of CrossFit, and that is observable, measurable, and repeatable. Now, repeat workouts have always been a way to measure your personal performances against our previous selves, and its omission from the 2022 Open is a major deviation from years past, but it's only the first of several things that are unique about this year's Open. Another significant change was that there was no Olympic lifting, and there was a lack of heavy lifting. So this marks the first CrossFit Open without an Olympic lift. So, and just for a little bit of a reference, snatching has been inside the Open 8 times, a barbell clean 7 times, and a clean and jerk 5 times. So before we kind of go any further, I know a lot of you are gonna say, well, 225, 155 is heavy. Well, I think it's important to look at the CrossFit HQ's definition of what heavy is, and that is something that can be done 5 to 7 reps with moderate rest in between. So while 225 or 155 for a deadlift might be heavy for you, doing it 100 times in 10 minutes in a 10-minute workout doesn't meet CrossFit's own definition of what heavy is. Next, there was a significant lack of monostructural and movements with a skew towards higher volume gymnastics work. Once again, gymnastics worked, I can't talk because of the braces. While there was a higher volume of gymnastics, the skill level required to do those movements was much lower. Now, this is probably due to the fact that higher volume of gymnastics, the higher volume of the movements required enough aerobic capacity to make up for the lack of like a rowing piece or other monostructural events like we saw the shuttle run inside the quarterfinal run. Now, after speaking to many of these athletes, and you see these interviews who qualified for the quarterfinals, what they believe is that the Open is trying to be as inclusive as possible, and the next step, which is reserved for the top 10%, is where you see the workouts that are more difficult and have heavier weights. This was recently the case with the Open Division quarterfinals, which there were 5 of, which now makes me circle back to another really big number, 3. 3 workouts was the fewest number of tests of fitness we've seen in a CrossFit Open. What's more, since the majority of the athletes did not finish 22.2 or 22.3, we can take the time caps and apply that to 22.1. And we see there was only 37 total minutes during the Open, with a time range of only 5 minutes, from the shortest workout being 10 minutes to the longest workout being 15. Now, for those who did finish some of those workouts, their Open was even shorter. And kind of to put things in perspective and give you a reference, In 2021, the CrossFit Open time domains under those same criteria was 57 minutes. Now that's a 20-minute difference, or 35% less time testing your fitness. So let's take all of those. Let's come full circle and kind of recap the changes that we saw inside the Open. Now, this was the fewest test ever since 2007, when the original CrossFit Games season happened, with the shortest amount of time to test the fitness. We had no repeat workouts, there was no Olympic lifting, and no significant monostructural movements. Nothing heavy, and there were some nearly identical movement patterns tested in 2 of the 3 workouts, with the burpee and the wall walks, as well as there was a jumping movement in every single workout. Now, with all those changes, some good, some bad in your opinion, this might be the beginning of a new era for the CrossFit Open. Let me know what you think in the comments. And I want to thank the Morning Chalk Up, because many of the stats that came from what I just told you was from them. So go check them out for all things CrossFit related. Now, in the next part of the series, I sat down with Landon and Ryan from CrossFit Reverence to talk about his CrossFit Open experience and finishing 5th in the world in the 16 to 17-year-old teen division. Now, you heard that right, that was in the world. We talked about his Open experience, what goals he set for this year's competition season, and what he hopes to come out of the hopper for the age group online qualifier in a few weeks. So, until then, I'll see you on the leaderboard.